Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Happy Tuesday, January 23rd. As I sip my coffee right here, we got a lot to talk about. The Lions, the 49ers, Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, all the way down to the Titans hiring a coach. Snoop Dogg's on here today, and also we have a lot to talk about, including Caitlin Clark getting run over on the basketball court. Before I do that, let me dial in and bring our co-host to the show, the guy we love, who knows all the stats, all the facts, founder of My NIL Pay, the guy with a face for radio, my below average white guy, Brent Chapman.
Snoop double G. That's right, baby. Here's the thing, Brandon, I think I need a rap song. We need to have a personalized rap song for the below average white guy. I think Snoop Dogg could. We got to find somebody who can come on and compose a intro music for me. Original intro music. That's what I think I need.
I mean, I would love for me to press this button. You come in here and it's got your theme song, dun dun dun.
Whatever it is, yeah. But I want it to kind of sound like Snoop double G. Right?
Yeah, bro. Listen. Yeah. Before we go to that, I love that shirt. I know you had it on. I saw you right before we came on the live. I love that freaking shirt, man. You listen. I come on here wearing all this stuff. I got these long sleeves. I got the short sleeves.
Where's the jacket today?
You're
Where's
looking
the
good,
jacket today, Brandon? I can't. I don't know that I can do this without you having on one of your patented jackets. I have on one of my classic. These are Manny Pacquiao's gloves, draped over my. You got the Filipino flag on it. I got it draped over my chest.
Dude, that is looking sharp. Can you say that real quick? I want to see that one more time. Those gloves, dude, that looks so real. I mean, it looks so real. I love that. Right, listen, we got a lot to talk about today. As you see on the hit list, Lions, 49ers, NFC Championship game, all the way down. People hating on Dak Prescott, what Belichick's doing. Look at Snoop Dogg's on here. We got a lot to talk about. Let's dive into it, Brent. The Lions? The Lions and the 49ers. Brent, listen.
Detroit, what? I need to start doing some of my Eminem, Brandon.
Look, Lions and 49ers, Brent. Brock Purdy was the conversation all year. Jared Goff was not. He's there now. But realistically, what do we have to look forward to? And I got some clips here. Brock Purdy as the game manager. We talk about this week after week, and he's back again. He's ready to ball, but look at this. He makes plays. He gets where he has to get to. A little bump in the road throughout the season, but they're back on track. They're using Christian McCaffrey. They were hitting Deebo Samuel, which we'll get to in a minute, which he is not in. They have weapons on the offensive side of the ball, weapons on the defense side of the ball, but more importantly, the big question is, can Brock Purdy live up to the hype in the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions, Brent? I think this is going to be another tough test. I don't think it's his toughest test all season. I think the Lions now are playing better football than ever. The crowd's behind them. The organization's behind them. Dan Campbell's behind them. What do you think about this matchup? And I'll pull this picture up for you, these two quarterbacks.
Detroit, what? No, I think this is going to be a great game. I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. If you don't think that, then you haven't been watching football this year. I think that you can call both these quarterbacks game managers, but they do a good job of getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers, which is what I expect to continue to happen. Both defenses are good. This is just the weather is not going to be a factor, which is great for a championship game like this. You want them to be able to go play ball. So this is going to be a great game. It's going to be incredibly competitive. I think there's going to be a lot of emotion on the Detroit side of things.
What do you see here, though?
But emotion
Christian
doesn't
McCaffrey,
win you the games.
This guy is so hard to stop, Brent. He makes a move and goes. And what I like about him, and I said this yesterday, is
you could say whatever you want. He's the best player in the league. I mean, you can say Lamar.
Best, arguably, especially at running back position, but the best in the league is, a debate. But I will say this: he gets a yard. He gets back, he fights again. A lot of people, they try to keep going and break tackles and try to get more. He understands the game. And he's did it in Carolina, and now he's doing it in San Francisco. He makes a play. Hey, I got 1 or 2 yards of work, but then he breaks one. He springs one. He gets in the end zone. He's not a showboater. He's not running around trying to overly.
Do you see that play, Brandon? If you give him a hole, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, the nuance of this is you've got to clog all those running lanes. If he gets past the line of scrimmage, you're done. And that's what makes him so dangerous.
I like
getting the ball out to
every week, though.
Yeah.
He's consistent. You know, a lot of players, Brent, are like this. Yeah, they had a great game. They're on and off. A lot of these players you see running backs are on and off. He's very consistent. And what I like about him is he's an every down back. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. He can gash you for yards with a draw. He can gash you for yards with a screen. He's a protector. And you know what? He's a leader. He's a role model. A lot of younger players watching him should look up to him. The way that he addresses the game, the way that he plays. If he gets injured, he's with the trainers. He's recovering. He gets back. He's in the lineup. He's durable. And that's what I think the 49ers have a lot to look forward to. But more importantly, I'm going to get into this conversation right now with these two quarterbacks. Brock Purdy has proven to be the guy. Last year, went through the end of the season, had a little bit shorter season. He wanted to get a little further, but he was first time playing, was third on the depth chart, gets after Trey Lance, Jimmy G. Then he gets in the game, and wow, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, is pretty damn good. But I got some facts for you, Brent. I'm going to pull this up right now. Literally on my phone, I have some facts I sent on here that I wanted to put into the message bar and also for people to see. But let me tell you something. The last time the Detroit Lions made the NFC Championship game, okay? Listen to these facts. The last time the Detroit Lions made it to an NFC Championship game
was against the Bills.
iPods did not exist. Text messaging wasn't even invented. Jared Goff, okay? Amon-Ra St. I say his name wrong every time. Brown, sorry, wasn't alive. Gibbs wasn't born yet. Laporta wasn't born yet. And I wish I had all the pictures here to pull up. These guys, 4 of their main players weren't even born the last time they made it. Now, Amazon, Google, MySpace, Facebook didn't even exist the last time the Detroit Lions. Hold on. PlayStation, Xbox weren't even invented, Brent. BlackBerry was still 8 years away. And last one, okay? Embiid, Giannis, Jokic weren't even born yet. Yeah.
And I got another one.
Campbell was in high school.
I got another one for you, Brandon. Guess who they played in the championship game that year? It was 1991. I remember it. I was avid Madden player that year. They played the Washington Redskins. By the way, that is the last time Washington was in the championship game also. Did you know that?
I didn't, but we need to add them to the list.
Well, they are now behind the Lions on last year. But, dude, I will tell you, that team, that was like, we don't have that anymore, really, in the NFL. That Redskins team beat everybody. Mark Rippon was the quarterback. Gary Clark was at receiver. Ernest Biner was at running back. And they literally won every game by 30 points. Like, they beat the Bills by like 40 points in the Super Bowl. It wasn't even close. That was a great year. But anyways.
Brett, listen, that was a quick shot. Literally a synopsis faster than I want to get into. But, Brent, who do you got? It's Tuesday. I know your brain's going to scramble here in the Wednesday and Thursday. All those snowballs from Buffalo are still sinking in, all that. But who do you have right now in your mind? I know what you're feeling, like how I'm feeling. The emotions.
3-1-3, baby.
Are you feeling the emotions from the Detroit Lions? Like, I'm literally, not because you're from there. Are you feeling the energy that Detroit Lions organization, the fan base that they're bringing right now? Do you feel that aura like, hey, it's our season, or are you feeling like the 49ers just have too much in the tank?
The 49ers are an excellent team, and I was right about something, Brandon, and you did not give me any credit in yesterday's show, especially when I was a little down. You have to recognize when a friend is down, and you have to boost his confidence a little bit. And you can do that by saying nice things. So what did I say in both of those games? I said, look, these teams that had a bye week and hadn't played in 3 weeks were going to start slow. And they did.
Yeah.
The 49ers were behind at halftime and the Ravens were tied.
Yeah.
Right? Then the Ravens woke up and it just blew them out in the second half.
But that's what good teams do. Good
teams
that's realize.
Fine. But I was right about that they were going to be a little sleepy after 3 weeks off. I don't think they're going to be sleepy anymore. I think they're going to be ready to go. And I just really, 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 really want the Lions to win this game. Really, 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 really bad.
You know,
but Brent will be sad and lonely on Monday again. It'll be sad Monday for Brent.
No, but Brent, what I want to say is this: the coaching is very important again, and here's why. This isn't Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. These are two quarterbacks that are very gifted, but they're not, 10-year vets. They're not guys that have been doing this a long, long time. Jared Goff, a couple teams, learning a little bit. But Brock Purdy, it's only his second season. This is his second time getting, to this kind of level. But now he's in an NFC Championship game. Coaching is very big. And more importantly right now, Brent, the mistakes, the turnovers in the red zone. I kind of like what Jared Goff brings to the table. I just don't know if the energy and the emotion from the Detroit Lions is going to carry them into a win, but this is going to be a very good game. And moving on to why, and we're going to talk about my prediction, but here's what I'm concerned about. Deebo Samuel
This is big.
Is not playing. And now, hold on a second. Let me back up. He may or may not play. I'm going to give you my take on what I believe.
He's 50% right now questionable with his shoulder injury. He has a shoulder injury.
Okay, so here's the question though. When you play in the NFL, your goal is to win a Super Bowl, right? The goal is to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, I want to win an NFC title. I want to win an AFC title. But the goal, Brent, is to win the Super Bowl. How do the 49ers win the Super Bowl? Here's how. They have to get Deebo Samuel healthy. If he's not healthy, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. But they could win. They could beat the Lions. If Deebo Samuel comes into the game, right, and he plays against the Lions, and he further injures that shoulder or he's not healthy, then he's not going to be in the Super Bowl. So if I'm them, if I have to take my chances, I'm realizing right now, even though Deebo makes a lot of money, I want him in the game, fans want him in the game, this is me as a GM, this is me as a coach. I'm looking at my team going, can you guys do this without Deebo Samuel? You won last week. You played an excellent team last week. You won last week without Deebo in the game. The goal is win a Super Bowl. I'm taking my star receiver, and I'm putting him right here, and I'm saying, look, you're not playing the first half at all. If we don't need you, you're not playing. If, in fact, we need you, hold on. If we need you, we might have to talk about that at halftime. But here's the thing. If the 49ers can come out strong and they're winning and they're beating the Lions, I'm letting my star receiver rest because we're going to need him in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. Deebo Samuel's going to be needed, and he better be rested.
Usually works the other way, Brandon. You start them, and then if you get ahead, you rest them.
Here's what I would ask. Point?
Here's what I would ask you, Brandon. He had a hairline fracture in his shoulder earlier in the season and missed 2 games. He's re-injured the shoulder. Do you, if as a football player, you said Brandon Mason as the coach or GM. I want to hear from Brandon Mason, the football player. Considering that injury, is that something that you can kind of just, I'm not advocating this, but maybe take a little, painkiller shot or something and go out there and tough through it? Is that?
No. Here's why.
It's your shoulder. It's not your ankle. It's not your knee. It's not the running, that's what makes him dynamic. It's a shoulder.
The only important part for Deebo Samuel
that up or something and go.
Hey, let me tell you something. The only important part for Deebo Samuel right now, if you're asking me, as an offensive coordinator, as a coach, as a GM, I'm taking Deebo Samuel on the field as a decoy. Run some routes, let people guard you, try to make some moves so they have to guard you. Because here's the thing. What makes Deebo Samuel so special? Hold on. What makes Deebo Samuel so special, Brent, is he can run routes fast. You need your shoulder to run fast. To jump and snag a football, the reason why he's so good is he's so athletic, he's so talented, he has the speed, he can take the ball away from defenders, and you can't do all those things. If you got a bad shoulder, right, and you get a shot in that shoulder, or you get that little shot right in your butt so all that pain goes away, what happens is every single play, when you jump up to catch that ball, you're not going 100%. And even though he's great, and he's better than most of the people playing football right now, you have to play 100% to be better than them. It's not that your 90% is better than them, it's your 100% is better than them. So if he's gonna be a decoy running routes and people are guarding him and it opens up other people, fine. But if I'm them, I'd let my 49ers get out there against the Lions and play football. If we don't need him at all, let's keep him resting. Because if he gets hurt, I'm telling you right now, without Deebo Samuel, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, and then you look at the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, I don't think they're going to beat them without having their star receiver on the field. That's my ultimate factor.
First of all, that's the team that shall not be named anymore. We will not speaketh that name on the show. Second of all, you can't have him as a decoy, dude. You have to have everybody on the field to be able to contribute at their top level. Even when he's on the field and he's not getting the ball, he has to block. Now you sound like Randy Moss. Hey, I'm not getting the ball. I'm just going to stand here and watch.
Hey.
Right? No, if he's on the field as a decoy, he still has to run routes and block. It's very physical. It sounds what you're saying. I asked the question. As a football player, can you get a shot in that and you don't really feel it and it's okay and you could keep kind of just muscle through it because it is your shoulder? You're saying you cannot.
But 50%, Brett, 50% is not when you get the shot. You get the shot when you're 80%. And if you're 50%, you're like, I'm not even near my caliber. If you tell me, hey, coach, I'm 85%, I'm 90%, I can do it, I'm 90%. Get that shot, get that strong Advil, and get your ass out there and play. If you're 50%, you're nowhere near the backup. That's what people have to understand. The NFL is not where, hey, Deebo can go out there and play at 80% and be better than everybody else. That's not the case.
I bet you Manny Pacquiao would get out there and play at 50%. I guarantee you that.
People watch this
He'd be a heck of a receiver.
Hey, people watch this right now can call in anytime. The number's on the bottom of the screen. You can see right now. You can call and you can talk. We finally got the phone number on there. Call anytime and talk right now.
Brandon,
to us.
do you need your reading glasses to see the number on the bottom of the screen? I know that was a little. Brandon couldn't see the number. He wanted us to like blow it up in big red, 172 font on the top over the screen, overlay it.
You're squinting at the number like, can you call 305? Listen,
you're the oldest mid-30s guy I've ever met in my life.
Listen, speaking of getting old, Dak Prescott
here we go.
is now in the media again. Here's why he's in the media. And I kind of feel for him, and I'll tell you why. His teammates, and allegedly, right, people are saying, but CeeDee Lamb was his star receiver all year long. A relative, and I won't say who it is exactly, of CeeDee Lamb apparently is taking shots.
What was his mother, I think?
And look, this is bad, right? Because CeeDee Lamb is your main target. This isn't, a defensive tackle who you battle with, or a cornerback, or someone who doesn't play, or on the practice squad. This is your star receiver taking shots at you. Their family taking shots at you, and I don't think it's fair. I think Dak Prescott had a rough ending to his season, as he's had several years with Garrett, with McCarthy. It's been continuing. The Cowboys will figure out what they'll do. Jerry Jones will make his decisions. But what I'm saying right now, Dak Prescott through week 7, through week 8, through week 9, 10, 11, we're like, wow, This guy's putting up numbers. He's in the MVP conversation. Him and CeeDee Lamb are boys. They're doing it. You can't find a better team. Brandon, it's like you and I coming on here every single day, getting on here, providing the show, the entertainment, the comedy, the fun to build our network. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, that's who they are. They have to work together to build what they're building. If the mom is taking shots at Dak Prescott, very low, showing very low maturity level. It's the quarterback. If you want to say, look, we got to get better.
Brandon, I got a question for you. You grew up, obviously, a very competitive football player. What? Gatorade Player of the Year. That's one of the top players in the country. Does this surprise you at all? My son is a nationally ranked quarterback prospect, so I've been around these parents as well. This does not surprise me at all. You should hear what some of these parents say about the players on their team and the other quarterbacks, and it's all very sort of, she should be smart enough at a professional level that this is like your job, and that's like the guy, but like, does it really shock you based on your experience in dealing with this space and these high profile athletes?
Brent, it does. It does. And here's why. It's not because a parent says something in the stands like, oh man, he should have ran faster. Oh, Brandon fumbled the ball, or, oh my God, Brandon should have caught that shit. He's not playing good. That's not what's happening. What's happening is parents of the receiver, of his best, his man, the main event, the showtime, your boy is taking shots on social media for the world to see. This isn't like in the stands where, damn, Dak, you played terrible today to a parent. This is on social media for the world.
Yeah, I get it, Brandon, but you're sort of, this is conditioned, right? So my son's 13. Right? So the parents have been doing this since the kids were 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and never were corrected. You want to know why? Because CeeDee Lamb has been the best player on every team that he's ever played on, until he got to the pros, period. So nobody was going to correct mom or dad or brother or sister or anything. So likely, this is learned behavior, and I see it all the time, and nobody corrects them, and now you have this problem. So no, this doesn't surprise me. It's disappointing that she would go on social media and say that, but it makes a ton of sense from what I've seen from the culture of youth sports and middle school and high school, and how it turns out. They get, Brandon, they get coddled their whole way up. And that isn't just the players, that's the parents too. Nobody.
Yeah, but you don't think that CeeDee Lamb saw that message on Twitter go viral, right?
Sure,
and you don't think he said, oh shit, because let me tell you something. The coaching staff, this is a lot what we were talking about with Jared Mayo and the Patriots. You can't have that internal problem unless you're forcing Dak Prescott out of the team, because here's what happens now. CeeDee Lamb's now like, okay, is he going to request a trade? Because he can't be that close with Dak Prescott after this. He can apologize. He can say, look, my mom made a mistake. She was pissed off. She was upset. She wants us to
He's going
win.
to say, moms, bro.
She said, some of these guys want to get rings. You don't think for a second that Dak Prescott wants to win football games? They could have said, look, we need Dak to get better, or we need the coaches to make some changes, or what's going on here? It's not Dak Prescott sucks. We're trying to get a ring. You're not doing it. And I just think it's absolutely, unequivocally BS that a parent would take it to social media and ruin their entire teammate experience, ruin the Dallas Cowboys locker room.
Brandon, this isn't the first time with the Cowboys. Like, I live here,
I know
right?
that.
No, I live here, right? And so I know a lot. Just in recent years, there's been star players on their team where their parents are not allowed in suites. They're not allowed at game day because of how they conduct themselves and how they behave. So Jerry's dealt with this before, and He'll probably handle it directly with CD. The administration, the coach, the general manager, Jerry, will handle it directly with CD. But I've heard this before. They've had to tell parents, you can't, and I'll share off the air with you some of those stories, but they've had to say, you can't come here anymore because of how you behave in the suite, the things you say about the other players. The difference with this is this was public. Some of that stuff was just sort of private embarrassment, but it happens.
It's embarrassing.
And by the way, it's happened with other high-profile players that Dak plays with. Same type of stuff.
Well, let's move on.
It's not new for Dak.
Let's move on. I'm not happy about it. I don't think it's good. It's terrible for the organization. It's terrible for the teammates, and it's extremely bad for CeeDee Lamb because it makes him look terrible in the situation as well.
It's bad for him publicly, I would agree.
Let's move on to Bill Belichick. And Brent, I know you think this probably would not be a situation to talk about, but let me say something to you. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
The goal is to win games. Okay. And now if you're looking at this picture right now, you're going, okay, what the is going on here? Now, the Patriots former coach, one of the best of all time, and we have a caller that's calling in a second. We'll bring him in. Patriots former of all time. Actually, wait a second, Howard, on that. I'm going to finish this topic. So what I believe is this. He has to choose where he's going to coach. A lot of teams would like to bring him in. Here's the concern. You said this several times now. Mike McCarthy brings you to the playoff games, can't win the playoff game. He's done great in the regular season. He's shown that he can do great things, but he brings them to the playoffs knocked out. He's not winning playoff games. Dak Prescott's not winning playoff games. So then you go to the Bills. Okay, now, the Bills have a really good football team. They have a really good quarterback. They have a lot of great things going on. Why is Sean McDermott, why can't he get them to the next level? These are conversations now, ready? Why can't they win that playoff game to get them to the next level? Why can't Mike McCarthy do that? Same reasons why you'd want them to leave. Now, I know you're a Buffalo Bills fan. I know you have reasons to like Sean McDermott, and I think he's an excellent coach. Belichick is meeting with teams, and he's met with the Falcons. I'm sure he's talking to the Cowboys, and I promise you right now, he has been in conversation with the Buffalo Bills. Now, will Sean McDermott? No, this is important.
What are you basing that on? Are you basing that on Rex Ryan's comment?
More than that.
Rex Ryan has the credibility of this tissue box that I'm holding. All right.
Hey.
Rex Ryan is the Mr. Foot Fetish. Right? Rex Ryan, he is just literally throwing things. He's making things up. What he said was, if I was the Buffalo Bills, I would talk to Bill Belichick. Dude, I could say if I was the Carolina Panthers, I would talk to Bill Belichick. That doesn't mean that. Look, do you want me? Put me back on the camera here, Brandon. I don't want to look at this guy anymore.
I'm kind of worried about this, Brent.
I'm going to explain this.
I'm going to the big game.
I'm going to explain to you very clearly, and everyone listening, why Bill Belichick will not be going to Buffalo now. It's very simple. Culture. Because each team has its own individual culture, and that starts from the owner to the GM down through the coach. All right? And the teams that are successful or not successful are built on their cultures, right? So Sean McDermott came in and had a very toxic culture that he took over from Rex Ryan. And so he had to clean out everybody that had been there, and he rebuilt. And there's no hiding. It's a very faith-based culture that Sean McDermott, every press conference, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, right? He's very focused, and he brings in people that are focused on that same kind of culture of wanting to build, wanting to work together, wanting to be as a team, wanting to fight it. There's no blaming. There's no selfishness. He doesn't tolerate that stuff in the locker room. Bill Belichick is the exact opposite culture as Sean McDermott. To shut up and do your job, and I'm the guy, and I don't care, and you do what I tell you. That's not the Sean McDermott culture. to think that you would fire Sean McDermott and bring in Bill Belichick, plausible, you could do that. But you would be basically destroying the culture that has built this championship team in starting from scratch. Doesn't mean you can't do it. It's not something the Bills and that Terry Pagula and Kim Pagula are going to do right now. They like Sean McDermott. They like Brandon Beane. They're not firing them and destroying the culture at this point and rebuilding. It's not there.
I like what you said. I
not going to happen.
Well, to your point, every new coach that comes in wants to build that culture and build it to their liking, bring the players you want, and build the way you want the locker room to be handled. And you know, that's an interesting point. I think what's happening now with a lot of owners, listen, there's a lot of owners getting older. To get to ownership of an organization, you have to have a lot of money, right? To get that money, it takes a lot of time to grow, a lot of time to build. There's not many young owners, maybe a couple celebrities are in the game, dabbling as partial owners in that. Most owners you see look like Jerry Jones, look like Robert Kraft. Like they have to have a lot of money, billions of dollars. They don't have 100 years to live, Brent. They want to win a freaking Super Bowl. So I think what's happening is, yeah, the culture in Buffalo is great. I wish they could have gotten further. It's great. But at the end of the day, they want to win. And so when you start evaluating why we didn't win, you look at injuries. You look at this. You look at that. A lot of teams have injuries. You start going around the board and going, okay, what are we missing right now? Are we missing a coach like Bill Belichick? What are we missing? And I think that's very interesting to find out. And
I think what they're going to say
several callers calling in right now. I'll bring them in a second.
Real quick, let me end that. I think what they're going to say, the Bills' problem is not the coaching. It's not the culture is great. In fact, the culture is the reason they didn't have 7 starters and they still were the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. That's what their culture is about, is that you every next man up, everyone works together. It's a team. It's a family, right? They're fighting for a goal. That's their culture. They're not going to change it. They're just not.
For the record, I really like Sean McDermott. For the record, I like him in Buffalo. And for the record, I don't want him to leave Buffalo.
I don't think he can stop.
Somebody is going to get canned very soon, and Belichick is stepping in very soon. And speaking of being canned, Mike Vrabel was fired. Obviously, was let go from the Titans. And everybody loved him. People were like, Mike Vrabel, he's the guy. He's the greatest. They finally found their quarterback, and they were so excited about him. And then boom, boom, boom. Here comes their new coach. So, Howard, pull up the transition here of what happened. Brent, who's the new coach in town?
Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan will be the next head coach per Adam Schefter of the Tennessee Titans. Listen. Brian Callahan has been the offensive coordinator for the Bengals for the past 5 seasons, and they've been really good, right? They weren't as good this year, but they dominated the 2 previous years, even making it to the Super Bowl, if you remember that. Here's the problem with the Titans. Last time I checked, Brandon, they don't have Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase. Is that correct?
Listen, I'm kind of worried when I look at these changes. I mean, Brent, what's bothering me is this, and I like what you said about the culture. The teams that have culture, the teams that rise to the top, and I got to tell you, Lamar Jackson, one of those players where it was like, he's holding out. He's not going to be there. They're going to let him go. He gets hurt all the time. He doesn't play in the playoff games. He misses too many games. They were loyal to him, right? John Harbaugh was loyal to him. The team was loyal to him. And look what's happening. Josh Allen, if you're loyal to him and bring players around him, look what happens. Dak Prescott, they're loyal to him too. Jalen Hurts, you can tell they love him. But all these teams where they love what they're doing, you just feel like next year, let's keep building. But when it comes to the Titans right here, fired. Mike Vrabel. They didn't fire a bad coach. So it's like he's gone. Next guy in. Quarterback's gone. Next guy in. I agree with the culture of next guy in. I just don't agree with let's freaking clear house out, because that's going to take 3 to 5 years to build a solid
maybe
franchise.
maybe not that long, but at least 2.
At least.
So next time you're at work and you get frustrated because you get passed up by for the promotion because the boss likes somebody else or because their boss's sister or brother or whatever, just know that that nepotism is alive and well in the NFL as well. Brian Callahan would never in a million years had anything to do with an NFL team if his daddy hadn't been the NFL coach for the Raiders, Bill Callahan, and also he was also the coach at Nebraska for many years. So Brian had the great opportunity to work his way up in the NFL, probably the same way that you get passed on your promotion, and now he gets to be a head coach. And there's probably a lot of other qualified guys out there that didn't get this shot. Like, I don't know, Eric Bieniemy, Leslie Frazier. There's a lot of good coaches that got passed over by some guy we've never heard of before. But his dad was a really great guy and went golfing with me.
There you go. Hey, that's how we do it.
You can tell Brent, you can tell I've experienced this in my career, Brandon.
Brent, you're a social guy. You're a social guy. So, Brent, do you want to get into your story that we can get into and talk about our next topic real quick and lead us into it?
Oh, Snoop Dogg.
How do we do it? Tell us what happened with your experience. We'll leave the ending out, but let's get into the experience. So, Brent walks into a bar.
Yeah, and I'm talking to this girl, and we're hanging out. Now, keep in mind, this is years before I met my wife. Please,
yeah,
I must preface that by saying, and I'm hanging out with her. You know, we're getting along, and she says to me, you know, my friends say I look like Halle Berry. And she was very attractive, and I acknowledge that. I said, yes, that's right. I said, my friends say that I'm like Snoop Dogg. Bow, wow, wow.
Brett, that's why we love you, bro.
Hey, and I'll just end it by saying it worked.
Brett, good for you, Brett. Listen, we're not going to get him in trouble with a great guy. Old story, funny story. But, Brent, how is Snoop Dogg so involved in everything? And sports is one of them. It's like, you can't put on a boxing event. You can't put on a UFC fight. You can't put on WWE. You can't put on football. Snoop Dogg just shows up. And it's like, how the hell is Snoop so involved in every possible thing? But Pete Carroll gets fired, and Snoop Dogg said, the first thing I did was call Pete Carroll and say, yo, you good, bro? And it was like, why would Snoop Dogg be like on the media
because
like, oh,
Snoop
as
Dogg,
soon as Pete Carroll.
Snoop Dogg is everybody's friend. Snoop Dogg is the biggest Seahawks fan, the biggest Steelers fan, the biggest Raiders fan, the biggest Niners fan. He was wearing a Ravens jacket this weekend. He is the biggest fan of the team that finished with the best record.
Right,
I love Snoop Dogg. Okay.
Double G, right? And then he goes, listen, he goes, look, I called him and he said, look, I'm ready to go. So apparently Snoop kind of spilled the beans and said, look, Pete Carroll is interviewing for other jobs. Now, obviously, he stepped down in an organization, still with the Seahawks, still doing a great job.
Oh, he is. I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah,
Thanks,
and
Snoop.
now Snoop spilled the beans and goes, yo, they need a spot here, they need a spot here. And he goes, yeah, I'll go coach at the Chargers. It came out of left field where he goes, yeah, I'll go coach at the Chargers. And Snoop's okay.
Brandon, why Snoop Dogg? Why not Snoop Dogg? Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, yippee, yay. That's all I got to say.
Brad, moving on to the next topic.
Hold on real quick. Are we gonna get that clipped? That should be like a sound button that you can hit as Brent going bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay.
But look, Joel Embiid scored freaking 70 points in a game, Brent. I mean, listen, how many times you got to shoot to score 70 points in an NBA game? And look,
I'll tell you how.
A couple years ago, I said, this guy's got to man up. I thought he had to man up. But now, bang. I mean, he's doing it, Brent.
41 shots from the field and 23 free throws. Set at 64 shots. That's how you score 70 points, Brent.
Dude, the guy had 20-some points in the first quarter. I was like...
So, Brandon, there must be something in the water on January 20th. Yeah, this is amazing. So there must be something with January 22nd in the NBA. So this is the day that Kobe Bryant scored 81 points, which is the second most ever to Wilt Chamberlain.
Which you did have on the list for today's show.
And I well, it's fine. It all goes together. Embiid scored 70, which breaks Wilt Chamberlain's record on the 76ers. Wilt had 100 with the Warriors. But here's another interesting fact, Brandon. Do you know who else had more than 60 points yesterday? Karl Anthony Towns also had 62 points yesterday. And that guy looks like Embiid, and he was just banging in threes. I mean, they were just off the backboard. Were just clanking in. He was hitting everything. He could have closed his eyes and dropped buckets. I am telling you, he was on fire. That is the fourth time in NBA history that two players scored more than 60 points on the same day.
Right, what is your team doing?
Same day, Kobe had 81.
What is your team doing for you to score 70 points or 80 points? I mean, sometimes you don't even score 80 points in an NBA game. How does one person score 80 points? I mean, Kobe Bryant will always be loved. Obviously, terrible accident. But 80 points in a game is like, yo, just give me the ball. You're either on fire or you're shooting every time. And speaking of basketball, as time purposes, I apologize for not taking as many calls today due to time purposes. We're moving on through the rest of this show very quickly, and we'll take some calls later or first thing tomorrow morning. Brent, Caitlin Clark gets bam.
Whoa.
Demolished. Now.
So do you think that was intentional?
It looked very weird. Watching it the first time, no. She's celebrating. But then I went, that angle, no. But she's rushed off the court. Obviously, she lost her breath. Wind knocked out of her. All-time, fourth on the list, all-time leading scorer.
She'll be 3 or 2 by the end of the year.
But look at this.
This is just wrong. There is
bam.
Fans should not be on the court with players. This is insane.
And then
Ohio State. I mean, oh my gosh. Jim Harbaugh made a call to a recruit. Let's fine him for 3 games. But we can let our fans storm the court and injure the best player in our sport. No problem at all. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Ohio State should get crushed for this. They should get smashed. Like, if you're going to go after Harbaugh and the Big Ten for what happened there, this is dangerous to your players. Nothing Harbaugh did impacted a player.
Listen,
didn't hurt a player at all.
But Caitlin Clark
physically endangered one of your best players.
I agree. But Caitlin Clark handled it like a pro. She said,
of course she did.
She goes, it's part of the game. The fans rush the court. She goes, it's part of the game. It happens. It's sad, but it happens. The coach, obviously for Iowa, was pissed off. And then even Ohio State said, look, it shouldn't happen, yada, yada, yada. But she said, Caitlin Clark said this, I'm sure the security was taking the proper measures. They missed this. It's sad they missed this. But she got, Brent, one more time before we get off here today, she got bam. I mean, this wasn't like barely touched. Look, people
Brandon,
will say, oh, is she faking it? I mean, Brandon, what was Caitlin Clark looking at, though, Brent?
Brandon,
what was Caitlin Clark looking at? Because, look, I mean,
she's just trying to get off the floor. She's not expecting fans to run on. Don't put this on her. Brandon, I know that you're not.
But, Brent, when she's running, she was trying to get off the court, and I know that. But it was like, yeah, she's tired, but last time I watched it, I mean, the guy was in the way, or there was a person standing there.
She just didn't expect some knucklehead to run on the court. So Brandon, I know that you're not a man of the people like me, and that you're probably in a box or down on the floor, but I'm the guy with his T-shirt on up in the stands, and I have been in the stands where at games, both professional and college, where it was time to storm the court. And the police were very clear. We will use force if you come over this wall. When that happens, they allow it to happen. When they don't want it to happen, it doesn't happen. I have been at games where a very big one where they won the championship for the first time in 20 years and the fans were all coming down to get on the field. And they brought police out and the police were real clear. We will use force against you if you come over that wall.
Did you recognize
nobody went over that wall.
Did you get arrested? Is this the time you got arrested for streaking across the...
I've never been arrested for streaking across the field. I have never gone on a field after a game, regardless of what Brandon is trying to say.
The Cowboys playoff game, Brent was arrested for streaking.
I was not the guy who was bleeped out and that you couldn't see. That was not me. I am telling you, this is on Ohio State. It happened because they allowed it to happen. That's the bottom line.
Wow.
Period.
Well, Brent, very, very interesting. And before we get off today, I'm going to end this whole segment with my prediction for the 49ers Lions, because that's what the main topic is. And I'm going to make sure this is clear. I really like the Lions. I love what they bring to the table. I love what Dan Campbell does. I love the fans. Feels a lot like Buffalo. Feels a lot the energy, the feeling. They need this game. They have not made it to the NFC Championship game even since iPods were out and their players weren't even alive. So I want the Lions to win. But I just think the 49ers defense is too strong, leading with Nick Bosa, right? On the other side, the other defensive end, I mean, they have great talent. I just think they will get to Jared Goff. I think that's going to make the difference in the game.
I can't disagree with you, right? I really hope that it's a great game. I think it'll be a great game, and we'll see where it goes. Brandon, this has been a fun show. I'm looking forward to doing it again tomorrow, and I'll end by saying go Lions.
Brent, always good to have you, but I'll see you tomorrow bright and early, 10 o'clock. Guys, thanks for tuning into the Brandon Mason Show. So happy to have you every single day. I hope you're having an amazing start, off to your week, because Monday's sluggish. Tuesday, you're in, be rocking and rolling. Stay in touch with us every single day as we expand our network. A lot of calls are coming in from people, other networks looking to expand. We will have live guests and people on the show with live interviews. The number will be on the screen every single day. And tomorrow we'll have more time to take calls from people calling in. I will see you guys tomorrow bright and early at 10 o'clock. Until next time.